for years that I choose my own emotions, but I didn't quite understand. Like, well, I know that I could choose to be happy right now, but right now I am ticked off. Right now I'm angry, and I know that I could choose to be happy, but I don't want to choose to be happy right now because I'm mad. And going through that and not really understanding, how could I not choose? And quite frankly, it's because I had been doing that for longer periods of time that I believed that to be more true than the fact that I could change my emotion. Like, I believed here that I could change my emotion, like I understood the concept of it, but I didn't necessarily believe, and I wasn't even aware that I didn't believe, that I could actually do that. And that's why it wasn't happening. And it would take me like hours to get over stuff, days to get over stuff, hours to get over stuff. Now, quite literally, it's very, very rare, and I can only think of maybe like 1 or 2 occasions in the past 6 months that I've had something happen that stays with me longer than just a couple of hours. And yeah, maybe a couple of days, and it would be a couple of days of randomly thinking about it, not like focused thinking about it. But the majority of my situations that I deal with now, especially in my day-to-day life, and the more that I practice this, the easier it gets, and therefore the less conflict I'm creating in my life to even have to face. Because once you start to get a lesson, it stops presenting itself. It's a pretty cool thing that happens once you can get to that other side of it. And then there's just a whole new lesson that's waiting for you. So. Yeah, but at least it's not the same lesson. Right. At least it's not the same one. But if you're getting the same thing in life, you're missing the lesson. And it might take on different forms, different faces, different places, different circumstances, different events. But if it's at the core the same exact thing over and over and over and over and over again, perfect indication that it's something that you're missing within you. Because I've heard people say, well, that's the way it always goes. That's the way it happens in every relationship that I have. And it's going to keep on happening in every relationship that you have, no matter who the person is, until you stop saying, see, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. No, every single time you point that finger out at somebody else, you absolutely are just pointing out that you have that same thing within you. But we're just kind of conditioned, or it's our nature or our culture just to, well, bring in a new one. That one was no good. Bring in a new one. To me, again, that's like, as long as I'm controlled by something that's outside of myself, then, it's just like sitting here waiting to be told what my life's going to be like. And I don't want to do that. I want to tell you what my life's going to be like. And then that way I can create it and make it happen. That's a lot more fun to me. So the other part of awareness is accepting the situation for what it is. Accepting what it is. Acceptance and awareness, to me, are kind of interchangeable. However, you can be aware of something and not accept it. So on that level, they're definitely not interchangeable. But at the heart of it, you have to be aware of something before you can accept it. Or before you can consciously accept it. Like, you might know something but not really accept it. And then once you become aware of what it is, then you can accept it. So the awareness leads to the acceptance of it. Like, for example, when I, like with my eating habits and exercise habits, when I became aware of what I was doing, then I could accept, oh, I'm here because of what I'm doing. So now I can make a choice to make it different. So becoming aware of my husband asking me a question and aware of the response that it brought up in me, I can accept, okay, I'm feeling this feeling. I can accept that I'm feeling this feeling, not fight the feeling, not hide the feeling, not try to lie and cover up the feeling, not replace feeling with positive affirmation but still have the feeling. I can accept the feeling. Okay, right now I'm feeling really ticked off. What does that mean? In that acceptance of it, you can then have a choice on what to do about it. But as long as you feel that feeling coming up and you're like, it's not there. It's not there. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. You're obviously the one that's mad. Why are you saying that I'm mad? You see what I'm saying? When you try to resist that, you become it. Or it's going to display itself to you. But when you accept the situation for what it is, now you got choices. Okay, over 200 pounds and I'm not working out all the time and, I feel sluggish in the middle of the day, whatever it is. Okay, I accept that that's where I am. Now I'm going to do something about it. But when you're 200 pounds, sluggish in the middle of the day, making poor exercise choices, poor eating choices, and you think, but I eat right, and I had a salad for lunch yesterday, when you don't accept that that's where you're at, then any changes that you make is going to be temporary at best, if you get any results. And if you even start at the beginning of this, when I was talking about that survival mechanism in the mind and the filter that it has, if you tell,
It considers what you gain and your progress is not important.
There you
It's
go.
not a threat to survival.
Perfect. That's really, really well said, and I don't even know that I've put those two together before in a presentation, but that's very, very true. Your mind doesn't even appreciate what's going on, and it takes it as, okay, this is no longer a threat, keep moving forward. That's beautiful. I'm so glad that you said that. I appreciate that. I love the gifts that I get in these. It's perfect. Perfect. But it's very true. When you're no longer threatened in the situation, it's no longer going to be important, so it's on to the next thing. That filter that is in place is going to look out for the dangers. And that filter is also going to look to back up your belief system. So if your core belief system is that you are lacking, then subconsciously created in your life is going to be situations that prove that you are lacking to back up your belief system. So that's why when you do the positive affirmations and you really, really believe that $1 million is coming to you, but it's still not showing up, that is a perfect example of what really at your core belief level, you don't at your core believe that $1 million is there. You might logically understand the thought process and the things that need to occur in order to have that appear in your life, but you haven't experienced it yet. So you're still operating on an old belief system. And if you're confused over what your belief system is, or you think that your belief system doesn't match your life, you're fooling yourself. Because the number one way to figure out what your belief system is to take a look around you. Take a look around you. If it's all not peaches and roses and fields of daisies that you're skipping through with sunshine and birds singing and clouds parting and angels singing, then that's a reflection of what your belief system is. Because your mind is going to work to provide circumstances that prove that your belief system is right. In the example that I gave about getting to the truth of the situation, the truth that I used for an example was that
your husband loves you, so he wouldn't think
a comment that my husband said to me that evoked an emotion in me that caused me to feel defensive. Instead of getting caught up in the defensiveness, I said, okay, since I'm feeling this emotional negative energy come up in me, instead of reacting to it, I'm going to use it as a choice, as a indicator that it's time to make a different choice. So, in order to make a different choice, since I don't know what's behind my husband's thinking and why he said what he said, what do I know to be true? At the beginning of the year, last year, I adopted a belief that the only truth in the situation, or the only truth that there is in reality, is love. That's really the only thing that's true. Some people say God, some people say love. To me, God, love, truth, it's all the same exact thing. If it feels good and it's happy and I think that that's what we were meant to feel, and that all the other stuff is just part of the human condition. So if love is the only truth, then anything else that is not love is actually rooted in fear, which is, to me, the opposite of love. So I have love and I have fear, and anything that's not love is really based in fear, even if it looks like anger or sad or whatever. It's all rooted in fear, because that's where the mind kicks in order to get into that survival mode. And for the example with my husband, in figuring out what do I know to be true, and the instinct to me is, what do I know to be true is that he loves me, because He's married to me. He tells me that he loves me. And if it is true that he does love me, then he wouldn't really have these feelings and emotions. Even though I can name like 100 times in which I have heard examples or seen examples, heard him say things, watched him do things that wouldn't be in alignment with love in this situation. But in truth, he does love me. So anything that he does do that doesn't appear to be love must be a misperception on my part or on his part. It's either my survival mechanism kicking in or it's his survival mechanism kicking in. And when I can understand that it's his, like if I get an unfavorable reaction from him and I understand, oh, that unfavorable reaction isn't aligned with love, therefore it must be rooted in fear. Then instead of taking personal what is said to me, I can understand that it's just his survival mechanism trying to keep him safe. So he's making choices based on fear. And now I can make a choice to show him that he's safe. And to show him, or whoever it is that I'm dealing with, that they're safe and there's no reason to attack because I'm not a threat. And then I can make choices to stay calm and not be reactive to it because it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with their misperception of the situation. So even if someone had looked at me and thought that what I was doing was wrong or not up to par or stupid or inadequate, then I can understand now that their misperception of the situation is because of their own fears and their own lack of self-worth or their own lack of awareness, and that it has nothing to do with me. It's their reaction, how they have conditioned themselves to react to a threat that I'm receiving, and it has nothing to do with me because then again, I'm just a symptom. I'm just what's triggering that reaction from them. I'm not actually the cause of that reaction. I just pushed the button, boop, and then I got the reaction. So when I understand that the reaction is just a survival mechanism, then again, I can get to the truth. Well, the truth is, here's the truth. The truth is that every single person on this earth, I believe, is looking for the same thing. Everyone is seeking love and acceptance. That's it. That's all that we're looking for is love and acceptance. So any time that somebody shows anything other, displays behaviors that are not in alignment with love and acceptance, or isn't getting my love and acceptance, or the love and acceptance of a group or a community, that they must not be aware that they're coming across that way, or they feel like they have to do that in order to survive. So again, it's a misperception on their part. Is that making sense at all? Or even further, it's a misperception on my part, because if I'm not seeing love and acceptance coming out of somebody, then it's a misperception on my part. If I'm seeing insecurity, then what's being displayed is an illusion. It's just their safety mechanism. Okay.
If it's not love, it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that it's not real, or it's just not love?
It's just an illusion. In my opinion, in the way that I live my life.
Mm-hmm.
If it is not love, it's not real. If it's not a feel-good, great, wonderful thing, then I just don't buy into it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have like an instance that we could look at, then I would be happy to explore it with you. I can't think of an instance where it has not happened for me yet.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes a couple days of contemplation before it's like, that's it. So getting to combining that, if it's not love, it's not real, and looking for the fact that everybody's looking for love and acceptance, then it can help me to get to the true motivations behind what somebody else is thinking. Because I go through my life thinking whatever is said and done to me has everything to do with me. Then everybody else that's functioning in this world is going through life, and all of our interactions, they're just focused on it happening to them as well. So when I can be the one who stops like that, taking it personal, when I can step out of taking things personal and just let things be how they are, and understand that that person's operating from a survival mode. Because if it's not love, if it's not acceptance, if it's not that immediate just goodness, it's based in fear. And it's a reaction to